Hi YouTube! I'm here today to talk more about why scripture sucks. More specifically, I'm here to talk about Noah's Ark in all of its literal and figurative holes, setting aside the fact that the story itself is just retarded. It only takes the smallest amount of consideration to realize that it's impossible. For instance, there are many creatures in the world that chew wood. For instance, we've got woodpeckers, termites, beavers, wood chewer wasps, carpenter bees, stabled horses, and goats. There'd be nothing you could do to stop these creatures from chewing wood. And when you've got bunches and bunches of them, like 2 of each of the 5 to 30 million creatures in the entire world, you'd find that the ark itself would be literally chewed to pieces before it could even get a chance to float. I can imagine beavers just going to town on the mast of a sail ship. I mean, it would be over. There'd be no chance for the ship to even sail. And then there's the idea of 2 creatures being able to somehow sustain an entire species. That's impossible. If you've got less than, say, 10,000 of any given species, that creature becomes functionally extinct. Of course, this includes slower gestation creatures like horses, cats, dogs, anything that takes an amount of time to reproduce. You know, anything with a significant gestation period would just die out before it ever got a chance to sustain itself. The word is called functional extinction. Okay? Once a creature has not enough numbers to support itself, it will just burn itself out. And then you've got the entire idea of the 5 to 30 million creatures, which is a number in constant flux because of extinction and species discovery, fitting on a boat of any measure. It's just impossible and ridiculous to actually believe. And just think about the size of that boat, you know, and it certainly was not large enough for every creature in the world to fit on it. But the thing that's funny about, you know, every creature in the world is that the world 2,000 years ago perceivably was as far as the eye could see. And obviously the world is far larger than that. So maybe Noah only gathered 2 of every creature in his area. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. But I do realize how ridiculous it is. Think about creatures like fish and ducks and whales and octopi and squid and everything that swims in the ocean. Would those creatures be impacted if the world was flooded? Or would they just not care and live on as if nothing happened? Of course, the entire idea that there ever was a worldwide flood is just not true. It didn't happen. There is absolutely no proof at all of a worldwide flood. I mean, sure, thousands of religions claim a worldwide flood, but this doesn't mean they're right. This flood that occurred maybe took place over a very large area, maybe, you know, miles and miles wide, and a lot of cultures experienced it. You know, all these different people descended and came up with a different version. But that doesn't mean that the flood was worldwide. And then there's Noah himself. I'm sorry, but to build a vessel of that size and then gather 2 of every creature in the entire world is quite the feat for an 800-year-old drunk to achieve. I don't know anybody today that could do it. How about you? I doubt it. The entire story itself is just unbelievable to anybody who really sits down and thinks about it. I mean, back then there were probably millions of species that were not yet discovered, countries that were not yet discovered, and people, that were not yet discovered. There is just too much not known about the world to make some bolsterous statement like two of every creature in the world, save, all the humans, babies, children, women, billions of innocent people died. Well, not billions, or way less people then, but everybody but Noah and his wives and children. That's genocide, last I heard about it. And of course, Christians don't seem to have a problem with that. In fact, religion doesn't seem to have any problem with violence and death and murder whatsoever. But that's why I'm non-religious. At any rate, I think that's all I have to say. This is Zelatov. Peace out.